and gentlemen, how are you doing tonight? Well, I hope you're doing fantastic. My name is Betty Kialo. Of course, this is this Friday. Man, I've been looking forward to tonight for the whole week. You know, I've missed you guys. I hope you've had a fantastic week, albeit all the issues that we've had, of course, in our country this week. It's going to be a great 1 hour. I'll try my best to make sure that we end the week strong. We have a fantastic show lined up for you. Of course, the top stories tonight. But apart from that, I am very honored today to have the parents of the late Kennedy Onyango. You remember the little boy, 12 years old, who actually lost his life at a time like this last year during the protests in Rongai. Well, we have the parents here tonight. And you know what? Something so devastating. They've actually brought some of his works. He actually loved to draw. He was an artist, an upcoming artist. And the mom, actually, Jacinta, is here with me in studio. And she actually has brought some of the works that, you know, he used to do. He used to love drawing, and we'll get to know more about him and exactly what, you know, if anything actually has happened, you know, since that time. The mom actually took part in the protest on Wednesday, and I just want to hear her experience so far. Of course, together with the dad, they're here in studio tonight, and we want to just honor the life of Kennedy Onyango here on the show tonight. And of course, apart from that, we'll also have Willis Ocheng, at least to cheer us up, of course, with Which is Which. You can, of course, talk to us on X, talk to him with the words that you want him to help us with tonight with regard to pronunciation. It's going to be a fantastic 1 hour. And you know what? Let's begin with the highlights. President William Ruto has taken a direct swipe at calls for his resignation, challenging those behind the Ruto Must Go movement to present concrete alternatives.
Tell me how you want me to go. I mean, let's be honest with ourselves. What do you mean? What do you mean by Ruto must go? How do I go?
Interior CS Kipchumba Murkomen on the receiving end after he made comments that border on okaying the use of excessive force by the police.
Na tumeambia polisi, mtu yoyote mwenye atakaribia police station piga yeye risasi.
And today, the CS says he was misquoted.
Tukisema kwamba polisi watumie bunduki kujikinga ama kukinga mwananchi, hatujasema ati itumiwe kiolela.
President William Ruto has made a new round of appointments and promotions in the Kenya Defence Forces. Major General David Kipkemboi Kitar has been promoted to the rank of Lieutenant General and appointed Commander of the Kenyan Army. Well, thank you very much for joining us tonight. Our sign language interpreter is Walter Juma. Well, let's begin with our top stories. And President William Ruto has taken a direct swipe at calls for his resignation, challenging those behind the Ruto Must Go movement to present concrete alternatives instead of what he called hate and violence. Now, speaking during the MSME Day at the Kenyatta International Convention Center, the president criticized the growing wave of anti-government protests and, of course, raising questions of this intent behind the demonstrations and urging those calling for political change to win public support through ideas and not chaos. Now, his remarks come in the wake of youth-led demonstrations across the country triggered by economic frustration, rising taxes, and allegations of police brutality. Now, the president defended his administration's development agenda, saying lasting change requires leadership anchored in vision, not disruption. Take a look.
President William Ruto has opened up against Kenya's youth-led protests, accusing Gen Z demonstrators of lacking moral grounding and derailing the country's development agenda.
What we witnessed was not peaceful protest. It was calculated chaos. It was violence. It was destruction. And it was economic sabotage. And there are people who are telling us, oh, you know, 25th was very successful. Really? It was successful? With people having died? With so many people hurt? With so many businesses destroyed? With many businesses up in flames? Was it successful?
Speaking during the MSME Day at the Kenyatta International Convention Center, the president criticized the growing wave of anti-government protest, questioning the intent behind demonstrations and urging those calling for political change to win public support through ideas, not
and if it is
chaos.
Ruto must go, tell me how you want me to go. And if it's a question of terms, the Constitution already has sorted out and settled the issue of terms. Terms are limited. You can either be 1 term, you can be 2 term. Maximum. You cannot have more than that. So what is this craze about terms? The Constitution already provides for those terms. So please, let us look for the solutions of our challenges.
The president, visibly frustrated, posed pointed questions to protesters, demanding clarity on how they expect leadership to change without presenting alternative solutions.
Do we uphold the law only to exploit its protection, to sow chaos and cripple our economy? Is this what freedom really means?
Backing him was Deputy President Kithure Kindiki, who spoke from Kitui. He defended the administration while underscoring the importance of peaceful expression.
Hatutangojea uende usababishe vifo na hiyo mambo ya ugaidi. Tutakuja tukuchukue na tukutafute kabla hata haujatoka kwako nyumbani.
Kindiki praised Kenyans who, in his words, chose restraint over chaos and urged youth to engage constructively rather than through the streets.
We are willing to become unpopular politically and save the security and future of Kenya.
Their remarks come in the wake of the protest, which left at least 16 Kenyans reportedly killed during this week's Gen Z-led protest. The comments have triggered a fresh wave of debate across the country, with critics accusing the leadership of deflecting rather than addressing root causes like unemployment, high cost of living, and police brutality. Roga Evil, TV47.
All right, now moving on, President William Ruto has made sweeping changes within the Kenya Defence Forces, appointing new service chiefs and promoting senior officers across the Army, Air Force and the Navy. Now, Major General David Kipkemboi Keter has been promoted to Lieutenant General and appointed Commander of the Kenya Army. Now, he replaces Lieutenant General David Tarus, who has been redeployed to serve as Vice Chancellor of the National Defence University, Kenya. Now, the reshuffle includes more than a dozen other appointments in training, logistics, infrastructure, and strategic planning, affecting all 3 services.
Major General David Kipkemboi Keter has been promoted to Lieutenant General and appointed Commander of the Kenya Army. He replaces Lieutenant General David Tarus, who is now Vice Chancellor of the National Defence University, Kenya. Major General Bernard Waliaula has been appointed Commander of the Kenya Air Force, taking over from Major General Fatuma Gaiti Ahmed, who has completed her 4-decade-long service. Brigadier Joel Muriungi Maarimi has been promoted to Major General and appointed as Commandant of the Kenya Military Academy. Brigadier Joyce Chelangat CTNA has also attained the rank of Major General and is now the Deputy Vice Chancellor of the Center for Strategic and Security Studies at NDU Kenya. In KDF hierarchy, the Chief of Defence Forces CDF holds the highest rank and serves as Principal Military Advisor to the President and National Security Council, with operational command over all service branches. Army commanders, while heading their specific branch, report directly to the CDF, making the Kenya Army post both powerful and politically significant. The reshuffle follows the Defence Council's recommendation, chaired by CS Roslina Toipantuya, and aligns with the Tonje Rules rotation, with CDF General Charles Kaariri from the Navy protocol dictates the next CDF come from the Army. General Kaariri, Kenya's 11th CDF, will turn 60 in August 2027 under the KDF Act, as CDF serves a single 4-year term or retires at age 62, Lieutenant Generals at 61, Major Generals at 59. The President may extend extend the CDF's term by up to 1 year on Defense Council advice. With General Kariri's term ending before the 2027 pause, Lieutenant General Keter, now heading the army, emerges as the frontrunner for the top military post. His new command gives him unrivaled influence of operations, positioning him at the heart of KDF's future stewardship and its neutrality in a critical election year. Paul Kirobi, TV47, Nairobi.
Now, to some devastating news, and another family in Karachuonyo village in Homa Bay County has been thrown into mourning after their 23-year-old son, Regan Omondi, succumbed to gunshot wounds sustained during Wednesday's Gen Z protests in Nairobi. And as Samira Mohammed now reports, Omondi died at Kianda Level 4 Hospital in Nairobi's Kibera slum on Thursday night, where he had been rushed after being shot by police along Ngong Road.
With the statistics of those who died during the Wednesday's Gen Z protest increasing. Another family in Karachuonyo village in Homa Bay County has been thrown into mourning after their 23-year-old son, Regan Omondi, succumbed to gunshot wounds on Thursday night.
Omondi alipigwa risasi hapa Ngong Road, risasi mbili, moja kwa mkono, alafu moja kwa mguu. So tukapeleka hospitali, alafu akakufa hospitali.
Another young life lost to the same bullets that Kenyans have paid for to protect them.
23-year-old Regan Omondi died at Kianda Level 4 Hospital in Nairobi's Kibera slum on Thursday night, where he had been rushed after being shot by police along Ngong Road during the Wednesday's Gen Z protest that rocked the nation.
23-year-old Regan Omondi is the second last born of a family of 5 children. Alikuwa ametoka, anarudi nyumbani jioni, amepigwa risasi kwa mkono na kwa mguu.
Visibly distressed, George Okello, father to the deceased, has called on the government and relevant authorities to ensure that the perpetrators behind his son's death are brought to book. Father saying that his son was innocently killed as he was not part of the demonstrators but was coming home from work when the incident happened.
Amepigwa risasi kwa mkono na kwa mguu. Alikimbizwa level 3 hospital hapo 42. They were treating him, but last night around midnight he succumbed to the injuries and lost his life.
With the number of those who died during Wednesday's protest reported to be 15, a section of leaders, pressure groups and activists have strongly condemned the killings of the protesters by police, terming it as adding salt to injury.
Tunaambia serikali, we can't keep losing lives of our youth. Tafadhali serikali, hii risasi yenye sasa inalenga vijana imekuwa too much.
Samira Mohammed for TV47, Nairobi.
Just terrible news there. And remember, like I mentioned earlier when we started the bulletin tonight, we have the parents of Kennedy Onyango. Of course, you remember the little boy who actually lost his life last year. A time like this during the protest, he was shot and he lost his life. Like I mentioned earlier, we have a conversation with his parents tonight, Jacinta and Michael. They're here in studio and we're going to be having that discussion with them with regard to that. Now moving on, as the impact of recent protests continues to be felt across Kenya, grief and sorrow have engulfed the family of 33-year-old Garson Mutisia. He is among 3 people reported to have died during confrontations between protesters and police in Emali town. As Quinto Bafula reports, the family's attempts to seek justice have hit a dead end, and they are now raising their voices in a cry for accountability. Take a look.
This is the home of Garson Mutisia's mother in Emali, where the family is mourning the loss of their second-born son. They say Garson was not part of the protest, but was on his way home when he encountered police officer who opened fire, fatally shooting him.
Wakapatana na maaskari, kijana akaruka, akajificha hapo Dubai. Kujificha Dubai, askari akachukua
akachukua bunduki akiwa nje ya gari akampiga risasi alafu akaenda.
Nikapigwa simu mama akaniambia brother yako amekufa. Mimi sikuamini, hata saizi siamini. Akaniambia amelezo kilome.
It is alleged that Gerson had taken cover by a roadside shop alongside his friend when a masked plainclothes officer terminated his life. After the fatal incident, the police flee away.
Askari mnene mweupe alikuwa amevalia nguo t-shirt ya pink na alikuwa amevalia mask ya blue.
The family says they were turned away when they tried to file a report at the local police station. Confused and desperate, they say they had nowhere else to turn.
Nikapatana na OCS. Akaniambia hiyo ni nonsense, toka kwa ofisi. Baada ya hiyo nikatoka nikiwa mbio. Hata nilikuwa nawaogopa nipige kisasi.
Tumelodge complaint na IPOA. Tumepigia hata seneta wetu anayetuwakilisha Daniel Manzo.
Their plea is now for the government and relevant oversight bodies to step in, ensure justice is served and that those responsible are held accountable.
Tunafisa kulilia serikali na tukienda mali wako atusaidie. Sasa mnataka tuende kwa kina nani?
So mimi ningependa manze prezo mali huko tu. Wait, compose yourself, listen to Kenyans.
Quinto Wafula, TV 47.
Another sad story there. Now, a police officer based at Tembleyo police post in Anabkoi, Uasin Gishu County, is in custody after allegedly shooting and killing his girlfriend and another man in what authorities suspect was a love triangle turned deadly. Now, according to Uasin Gishu County Police Commander Benjamin Mwanthi, the incident took place around midnight at Kokwet Bar, a local establishment in the Juakali area of Tarbo, said to be owned by the female victim. Now, the officer is reported to have confronted his girlfriend over allegations of infidelity. Now, when another man attempted to intervene and calm the situation, the officer allegedly drew his firearm and shot both victims at close range.
It's an incident that has stunned the residents of Eldoret, a tragic case of love gone sour that unfolded shortly after midnight.
Alikuwa hapo juu. Sasa akapiga hiyo risasi watu wakatawanyika.
The officer, identified as Jackson Kirui from Tembeleo police station, allegedly opened fire on a woman believed to be his lover and the manager of Kokwet Bar at the scene of the incident, killing her and a man he found seated with.
Bilo askari alifika akatusalamia hapa, akaingia ndani. Tuko mali saa 5 tukasikia risasi nikapigwa juu.
Mida ya saa 2:30 sisi tunasikia tu marisasi kidogo kidogo. Ameua mke wake pamoja na jirani wake.
Mwingine anaitwa Mwala. Hiyo ilikuwa bahati mbaya. Si ati yeye angeuliwa. Wakati walipiga bibi yake, the risasi kamshika.
The officer who frequently visits the joint was said to be in a relationship, though it had been rocky, with the officer warning her against interacting with other men.
Wamekosana kwa muda si mrefu sana. Hii ni mambo inaitwa kama staisi ndoa kamili ya wana watoto. But wamekuwa kikosana, anaona joto wa hasira ya polisi, wanakuwa na hasira, hakuwa anashare na mtu yeyote.
Eyewitnesses say the officer walked into the bar and found Mama P seated with the man they appeared to be enjoying themselves before brief altercation ensued. The officer used his service weapon and shot the two.
Yaani yako anaishi wote na raia na wote ishi walikuwa tuna huyo mwanamke yake. But huyo mwanamke alikuwa ametumia kijana anyo vibaya. Vile alikuwa anamtreat hapa hivi, alikuwa amempeleka vibaya.
Kuna rumors tulikuwa tumesikia kitambo ni kama Grieving alikuwa amechukua loan akakuja kufungulia huyu mama akamfungulia mama pa. So ni kama huyu mama ni kama alikuwa ameanza kukasia huyu jamaa na jamaa amechukua loan.
Uasin Gishu County Police commanders confirmed the incident, stating that the officer who has since been arrested used his official firearm in the attack, with the bodies of the victims now currently at the Moi Teaching and Referral Hospital. Mike Chelo, TV 47.
In the eye of Wednesday's protest storm, Kenya's political class has erupted into a chorus of clashing narratives, accusations, fly. Public institutions are under scrutiny, and the call for change grows louder with each passing hour as opposition leaders fault the government for deflecting from the pressing demands raised by Gen Z protesters: justice, accountability, and economic dignity. Those allied to the ruling side are intensifying pressure for the arrest of former Deputy President Rigathi. Now, they accuse him of orchestrating the chaos that gripped the nation during the demonstrations.
As Kenya reels from Wednesday Gen Z protest, a fresh political battlefront has opened over Interior CS Kipchumba Murkomen's comments to police.
Na tumeambia polisi, mtu yoyote mwenye atakaribia police station, piga yeye risasi.
For Murkomen to say that when any visitor come to the police station should be shot is highly regrettable, unacceptable, and can only display your ignorance.
Today, opposition-aligned leaders accuse Murkomen of deflecting from youth demands for justice over last year's anti-finance bill protests.
Kwanza kusema ni hawa walipanga, ni hawa walileta pesa, ni hawa na hawa. Tunajua hiyo ni uongo, wanataka kutupuuza kama Wakenya.
They also decried selective justice, insisting political instigators face consequences just like ordinary citizens.
Of the statements made by Junet Mohammed to show that this was a Kikuyu affair, we want to tell them that the Kikuyu of this country have a right. They do not exist in this country at the pleasure of President Ruto or Murkomen or Junet Mohammed.
But not all leaders backed the demonstrations. In Kakamega and Soy, MP Farouk Kibet and other officials condemned property destructions and loss of life.
Wale watu wanapinga maendeleo usije vijijini, tunaambia namna gani? Wasishindwe. Sisi tumekuja leo kwa sababu tuna imani. Leo tutawaja tofauti mkubwa sana hapa Lukiani kwa sababu mama akifaulu, boma inafaulu.
They urged Kenyans to channel their frustration at the ballot box, warning youths are being used as pawns by political opportunists.
Watu wawache maandamano, watu wawache wizi. William Ruto akiuliza kura 2022, kura zake alishinda 2017. Hii anaenda mpaka 20.
Back in Parliament, opposition MPs insist root causes, that is youth employment, police brutality, lack of education, remain unaddressed. Critics even targeted the National Intelligence Service for failing to foresee the unrest.
The government has, the intelligence and where they get information has totally misled William Ruto and his government.
With over 60 lives lost and tensions mounting, parliamentarians and citizens call for constitutionalism, accountability, and peaceful resolutions. As a political storm intensifies, Kenya's quest for justice and reform has only just begun. Faith Wangari, TV47.
The High Court in Isiolo has halted the County Assembly's attempt to impeach Governor Abdi Ibrahim Hassan. A conservatory order bars debate of the motion filed on June 18th, declaring any action in defiance as null and void. Now, Speaker Mohammed Roba and MCA Abubakar Godana now face contempt charges for allegedly ignoring previous court orders. Now, they've been summoned to appear in person on June 30th. Now, Speaker MCA cited for contempt of court to appear in court June the 30th. The judge affirmed the orders will remain valid until officially overturned, warning that any further breach may trigger legal penalties. All right, let's now move to matters business. Cape Media, in collaboration with the Kenya Urban Roads Authority, KURA, today visited Kenya's western region as part of a public awareness campaign on road safety. Now, according to KURA chairperson Charles Churi and board member Basil Nyaga, the country lost approximately 5,000 lives to road accidents in 2024. Now, they urged all road users to observe a speed limit of 50 kilometers per hour in built-up areas. The Cape Media crew was led by Radio 47 personalities Fred Arocho and Dr. Ofweneke, who were at the forefront of the sensitization drive, with fans treated to exciting giveaways following stops in Kakamega and Bungoma counties. Now, the caravan heads to Trans Nzoia tomorrow and will conclude on Sunday in Eldoret.
Tumekuja kupromote road safety na kujulisha watu hali ya road safety na njia ya kutumia barabara zetu.
Safety starts with you first. Before and after, it ends with you. So we are all called upon to ensure that, we be our brother's keeper. Every year we are losing so many lives on our roads. Last year alone, we lost almost 5,000 people. 5,000 people is not only statistics. Those are lives lost. And when lives are lost, so many others are injured. They are in hospitals. So we have a lot of economic downturn in our country, where we have supported so many people who are either injured or broken, whether they are border riders, in hospitals, they cannot take care of their families, so it becomes a problem to the government.
Tumekuja katika road safety network campaign ambapo tunahamasisha Wakenya kuhusu masuala ya barabara, yani usizidishe kilomita 50 per hour, yani 50 kilometers per hour, usizidishe. Ukiwa barabarani kuwa mwangalifu, manake ukiwa mwangalifu utamsaidia mwenzako na wewe pia kuweza kuwa sawa. Leo tuko Bungoma na tunazidi kujienjoy.
Kwangu mimi kuna vitu mingi sikuwa najua, lakini venye natoka hapa leo nimetoka nikiwa nimeelimika, hata sasa najua sheria za barabarani.
Fred Arocho there. All right, now moving on. President William Ruto has urged businesses to uphold positive credit scores to open up a range of financial options for expansion through the Hustler Behavioral Credit Rating System. Speaking during the 2024 International MSMEs Day, Ruto announced that the Hustler Fund has disbursed 71 billion shillings so far, signaling at a healthy growth of the single-digit credit facility.
At least we have a history that you don't pay. It is still good enough, for the next person, that this person normally pays, this other one does not pay. So we have at least brought a credit history to everybody. Of the 26 million people, they now have a credit history, which is a good thing. And the positive thing about a credit history is that you can improve it. You may have not a very good credit history today, but you have an opportunity to repair it. Tomorrow you can repair it, and progressively, when you see the need to repair it, you will then discover that it is good to have good behavior.
You have already said, Your Excellency, that now Kenyans have saved 300 billion, now they are on 600 billion. But most of them are through the formal structures, those who are in employment. But now as a ministry, we are emphasizing the issue of savings within the informal sector.
Kenya Airports Authority has introduced a state-of-the-art aircraft recovery system at Nairobi's Jomo Kenyatta International Airport, aiming to strengthen emergency response and reduce runway closure times. Now, we understand that the 177 million shillings system sourced from UK-based AMS Aircraft Recovery includes modular tools capable of moving large aircraft swiftly and safely. Now, this upgrade addresses a long-standing gap in emergency handling and supports JKIA's growing role as a regional air travel hub.
We want to be able, with this equipment now, we will be able to clear the runway faster than any other time before. Within an hour of an incident, we should be able to resume flights and carry on with operations normally. You need to appreciate the fact that at JKIA, we are operating on one runway for all flights, and any incident will always cause various delays, like one we had last Sunday, which caused about 2 hours of disruption.
Operators are now can breathe a sigh of fresh air, because this is going to ensure on-time performance. So there will be no delays in terms of aircraft disablement or runway incursions, and we hope that doesn't happen. But if any incidents happens, there will be a quick reaction to take care of the situation.
Okay, let's now move on to some sporting action. One of my favorite, of course, categories here on the show. And listen up, over 1,400 participants will tomorrow grace the 25th edition of the Lewa Marathon at the Lewa Wildlife Conservancy, Meru County. Now, among the notable athletes who will grace the event will be John Matei and Mercy Kwambai, the 2023 winners, while Peter Wahome and Frida Chepite Lodepa, the 2022 champions, are also expected to compete. Additionally, the event will feature the participation of Kenyan Paralympian Henry Wanyoike. The Saturday event will feature the 42-kilometer full marathon, 21-kilometer half marathon, 10-kilometer corporate race, and the 5-kilometer children's race. The organizers are aiming to raise over 140 million shillings now this season, which will be used for wildlife conservation efforts, and community development projects will be underway.
Mimi mwenyewe nitakuwa nakimbia hiyo marathon ya kilomita 21. Natumai niko na uhakika na niko na nderemo ya kwanza kwamba nitaweza kumaliza hizo mbio.
So nakimbia mbio za kilomita 21 na nimekuwa nikitrain kwa muda. At least nasikia nafurahia juu sijai participate tena.
Definitely sounds like a good time. Now, the inaugural Junior Rollball World Cup wrapped at today at the Kasarani Indoor Arena in Nairobi, Kenya. The host nation, Kenya, put up a spirited fight but faced stiff competition in the finals from visiting teams. Now, in the girls category, India delivered a commanding performance to defeat Kenya 5-0. Now, the boys' final followed a similar script, with the Indian side outplaying the Kenyan juniors 5-1. The week-long tournament brought together more than 6 teams, including India, Sri Lanka, Tanzania, South Sudan and DR Congo. It marked a major milestone for the sport in the region and is set to conclude on Sunday.
The mission of Indian rollball team, which is participating in first Junior Rollball World Cup being held at Nairobi. We came here on 21st. There was very good arrangement. The transportation was very good. The official from Kenya received us at the airport, and we were very settled at the hotels. The overall facilities are very good. It's a very good competition. I think due to some war in the Gulf countries, many countries missed to come here. So otherwise, my own team is preparing for this competition for last 3 months.
So big and so nice. The ground is also nice in the stadium, and environment is also nice. Weather, environment, climate, all is nice.
This season is going very well. Yesterday we had 2 matches. That was very nice. Today India is playing right now.
Okay, so listen up, ladies and gents. That's where we, of course, end the first part of the show tonight. That was, of course, the top stories making headlines across the country and afar. So we're going to take a short commercial break, but remember, the show goes on. Of course, we have the parents of Kennedy Onyango, that devastating story, that story that, touched the whole country last year and still continue to do so. So we're going to be, of course, having the parents who are going to be speaking to us about just how life has been without Kennedy. And the other day, I'm sure you saw on the internet, the mother Jacinta just coming out to saying still nothing has been done. They feel that there's no justice yet. That's the conversation we'll be having after the break. But of course, also up ahead, we'll have Willis Ocheng joining us live and live from Kisii County. So we still have so much more to come. Don't go away. We'll be right back.